Hello everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to start a new chapter from human physiology, that is excretory products and its elimination. If you like this video and get some help, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So here we are with a new chapter about human physiology, that is about excretory system. So excretory system में आपने you must have heard it in 8th as well as in 10th. Now again in 11th in much more detail. So excretory system of human is going to consist of one pair of kidneys. So you know there are going to be kidneys. Then kidneys जहाँ से आएंगी there will be a tubing, that is ureters. Again two kidneys, so two ureters. And then both the ureters will come and join at a urinary bladder, and then from the urinary bladder the external opening of urethra will release out the urine. So this is all that we have to study in detail for this particular video. So let's get ahead. So kidneys, what are these? These are the organs which are going to be reddish brown in color. उनका bean shape होता है, and that is the reason you also have a pulse, that is kidney bean. So the shape of it is going to be like that, and these are going to be located at the levels of last thoracic and the third lumbar vertebrae. So ये जो vertebral column है, this will be very well understood in the locomotion and movement chapter that will be coming up ahead. But अभी के लिए तो आपको ये पता होगा because you have studied it earlier as well. So that would not be a problem for you to understand. So this is just a location where you can find these kidneys in your body. So these are going to lie close to the dorsal inner wall of the abdominal cavity. So generally जब kidney locate करनी होती है, you are going to be positioned on the side, यानी एक साइड पे आप सोगे. You are not facing the sky, you are not facing the floor, but you are on your sides. So that is how you are going to position the kidney. So kidneys जो होती है उनका अगर आप measurement कोशिश करोगे, like what is the size of it, then it is going to have about 10 to 12 centimeters in length, 5 to 7 centimeters in width, and 2 to 3 centimeters in thickness. So you can have some clay, और clay को आप ये dimensions में रख के you can understand how big the kidney is going to look like. So in this thickness or in this size of kidneys, the weight is going to be 120 to 170 grams of each kidney, and in that also the left kidney is going to be higher. Why? Because जैसे आप left and right में compare करोगे, लेफ्ट किडनी थोड़ी ऊपर है बिकॉज ऑफ द राइट किडनी राइट साइड पे लिवर होता है. So because liver is going to occupy a larger amount of space on the right side, left kidney थोड़ी ऊपर रहेगी as compared to the right kidney. So right kidney कहाँ होगी? Right kidney जाएगी नीचे and the left kidney will be comparatively on the upper side. So once you have understood about the structure of the kidney, now you can understand the external as well. So यहाँ पे towards the inner concave surface there is going to be a notch, and this notch is called as ileum. So here you can see kidney bean जब आप बनाते हो, this kind of concavity that you show, this concavity is nothing but a notch, and this notch is going to be called as ileum. अब ये notch में से होता क्या है? This notch is going to be the entry point for the blood vessels, for the nerve passages, and even for the exit of ureters. So यही से you can see in the diagram as well, there is going to be nerve endings, there are going to be blood vessels. So veins होंगी, arteries होंगी which are going to be coming in and out of it, as well as the ureters which are also going to be coming through the notch that is called as ileum. So it is a concavity. So this is one thing that you need to remember about kidneys. As you might know that kidneys are going to be one of the very important organs of our body, and because of that the kidney needs to be protected, and for the protection there are going to be several layers through which the protection will be provided. So ये कौन से layers होते हैं? So we are going to see the structures which are going to come from the inner to the outermost protection layers. So सबसे innermost जो होगा, the innermost one covering, which is going to be made up of white fibrous connective tissue. White fibrous connective tissue है, उसकी वजह से the appearance will be going to be somewhat whitish in color. So that is the reason white fibrous tissues जहाँ पे भी covering करेगा, the outer covering, it is going to be looking or appears to be white in color with few elastic fibers and few muscles. So this kind of outermost protective covering is called as renal capsule. अब renal capsule से once you go a bit more deeper into the protective layers, the second one comes is the middle layer having adipose tissue, and since adipose tissue is present, we call it as a adipose capsule. Adipose tissue क्या होता है? It is a kind of fatty layer. जो सारे fat molecules accumulate होंगे, because of fat layer getting accumulated, it is going to act like a shock absorber. So wherever you fall down or any kind of different activities happen, किसी ने आपको धक्का मारा, आप गिर गए, या you are squeezed into something, and because of all these sudden happenings in your or around your body, the shocks should not reach to the kidney and damage it. So for that reason this adipose tissue is going to act like a shock absorbers. यानी जैसे गाड़ी स्पीड ब्रेकर पे से जाने के बाद धक्के खा के आपको नहीं पहुंचते हैं, the same way this adipose capsule is going to do. It is not going to affect the kidney that is going to be inside the last protective layer, and this outermost protective layer is going to be called as the renal fascia. So this renal fascia is the outermost fibrous covering, and it is going to be linked to the abdominal wall. So abdominal walls यानी जहाँ पे आपके सारा गट के रिलेटेड के जो भी organs है वो जो होंगे, it will be nearby that, and it is connected somewhere to those. So how it is connected and what percentage it is connected, so let us see that. So kidneys जो होती है, kidneys are called as retroperitoneal arrangement. Why is it called so? Because kidneys की जो location होती है, because of the location, only the dorsal side is going to be fused with the body wall, and the peritoneal cover is present on the ventral side. So what do you understand? Peritoneal layer यानी जो abdominal जो organs को cover करती है, वो peritoneal layer only on the ventral side, whereas on the dorsal side it is going to be attached to the body wall. And because of this reason कि वो सिर्फ एक side से ही, यानी पीछे की side से, ventral side is पीछे की side, because it is only on the back, that is the ventral side covered with peritoneum, it is called as retroperitoneal arrangement. So आगे से once you see kidneys, you won't find the peritoneum, but on the ventral side it is going to be attached to the peritoneum. So that was about the protective layers and the position that is related to retroperitoneal arrangement. So now let us understand about the internal structures of kidney. So kidney may, once you go through the ileum, inner to the ileum, you are going to find a broad funnel shaped space, and this space is called as renal pelvis. This renal pelvis is going to have projections that are called as callus. So you can see up here in the diagram as well, and try to locate these labelings so that you can understand the structure and the location of it as well. So inside the kidneys you are going to find two major zones. The first zone is called as inner medulla, and the outer one is called as outer cortex. So let us see in detail about it. So medulla जो होता है, it is going to be divided into few conical masses, and these conical masses are going to be called as medullary pyramids, and these medullary pyramids are further going to project open to form the calyx. So calyx हो सकता है to understand like a external tube which is going to be found. So ये हो गया tube projecting outwards, that is the calyx, और जो medulla का part है, it is going to be the conical mass which is called as medullary pyramids. Now the cortex is going to extend in between the medullary pyramids as renal columns of Bertini. So columns of Bertini जो होता है, it is also a part of cortex. So cortex जो होता है, it is going to lie behind the medullary pyramids, and this blue colored area will be called as cortex. अब ये जो blue वाला part green के अंदर जब जाएगा, for example, let us try to locate it with a darker color. So darker color जो blue में है, it is going to be called as the columns of Bertini. So once going inside, you can understand the description and try to find out a suitable diagram for it, so that you are going to draw and remember it for a longer period of time. So as we have drawn here about the medullary pyramids, there are going to be two areas. जो एक होता है, it is called as the broad base. So जो वहाँ पे होगा, this broad base is going to lie towards the cortex. So you can see in the above one area. तो वहाँ पे क्या होगा, यहाँ पे होगा cortex, whereas the second opposite end of it जहाँ पे calyx होगा, this calyx के area के पास में the pointed structure is going to be called as apex. So let us understand in apex in the next slide. So as we have seen about the medullary pyramids, उनमें दो points होते हैं. The one is going to be the base which is broad and it is going to line towards the cortex. So ये blue वाला जो है, it is going to be cortex, the broad is the base. अब जो opposite side of the base है, it is going to be your apex, यानी जो pointed होगा, it is pointed, that is apex, and it is going to be called having a renal papillae. Now this renal papillae जो आगे आएगा, this renal papillae you are going to write it down so that it will help you for your further reference as well. So renal papillae होगा, so renal papillae can be 1 or 2 or 3, however in different kinds of numbers can be present. So ऐसे बाजू में और भी सारे medullary pyramids होंगे. So all these medullary pyramids are going to have their own renal papillae. Now these renal papillae are going to come and join together somewhere, and this joining, this union to project is going to form your minor calyx. क्या बनाएंगे? Minor calyx बनाएंगे. Like this is one zone. वैसे ही दूसरा zone भी होगा. दूसरे zone में भी what are you going to have? दूसरे zone में भी you are going to have these kinds of different medullary pyramids having their different kinds of 1 or 2 or 3 any kinds of renal papillae. These renal papillae will again come together and have their common what? Minor calyx. अब ये minor calyx जब join होंगे, what is this? This is minor calyx. Now once these minor calyx join, these are going to form one major calyx. So ये कौन होगा? The purple one is going to be the major calyx. So this is some kind of diagrammatic tubing network. So जैसे pipes होते हैं, so that is same way. यहाँ पे क्या है? The green one you can understand that it is going to be a water tank. ओके, ग्रीन वन को समझो कि ये टैंक है, टैंक में से एक इंडिविजुअल पाइप आई है, दैट इज रीनल पैपिले. अलग अलग घरों के बड़े बड़े टैंक्स में से देर आर गोइंग टू बी 2 or 3 पाइप्स कमिंग टुगेदर एंड फॉर्मिंग वन पाइप फॉर द एंटायर बिल्डिंग. अब बिल्डिंग की पाइप आके कहाँ ज्वाइन होगी? सोसाइटी के पाइप में ज्वाइन होगी. सो द येलो वन, that is the minor calyx, is going to be the society's pipe. अब वैसे आजू बाजू भी बहुत सारे सोसाइटीज होंगे. सो ये सोसाइटी नंबर 1 हो गई, वैसे यहाँ पे सोसाइटी नंबर 2 है. दोनों का पाइपलाइन ज्वाइन होके म्यूनसिपैलिटी के पाइपलाइन से ज्वाइन होगा, दैट इज द मेजर calyx. So that is going to be one of the diagrammatic representation so that you can understand the entire tubing of the kidneys. Now whenever there is going to be medulla, medullary region में interstitial fluids होंगे, and these interstitial fluids are going to help the area to have higher osmotic concentrations, that is almost equal to 1200 milliosmol per liter. And because of such higher osmolarity, what is it contributing? It is going to have NaCl, that is common salt, and the urea. Because of these two solutes, the osmolarity is going to increase, and because of this osmolarity only, it is able to filter out the urea and pass it out in the form of urine. So cortical regions जो होते हैं, these are going to be closer to the medulla, and that are called as juxtamedullary area. सो दो रीनल मेडुलरी पिरामिड्स के बीच का जो कॉर्टेक्स होगा, सो दिस इज वन मेडुला, दिस इज सेकेंड मेडुला. पीछे की साइड पे कौन है? पीछे की साइड पे कॉर्टेक्स है. कॉर्टेक्स के बीच में जो कॉर्टेक्स एंटर करेगा, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी कॉल्ड एज द जक्स्टामेडुलरी रीजन. So that is going to be nearer to the medulla, because medulla कौन सा part है? Medulla is the green part because it is forming the medullary pyramids, whereas the blue one is the cortex, and the center में जो blue होगा, so you try to highlight it with a darker blue. So this darker blue area is going to be the juxtamedullary area because it is just near to the medulla. So you can remember it like that. So these major calyx that we have seen, यानी म्यूनिसिपैलिटी की जो पाइपलाइन होगी वो फाइनली कहाँ ओपन होगी? It is going to open up into a big funnel shaped structure which is going to be called as the renal pelvis. So finally जो purple structure है हमारा, this purple structure is going to open where? It is going to open up into a bigger area, and this bigger funnel shaped area is going to be called as renal pelvis. So renal pelvis समझो municipality का बड़ा office. So you can understand, in the form of pipeline coming from your home and going to supply all the drainage pipelines. You can consider drainage pipelines better है because वहाँ पे start होता है आपके घर से, यानी from your particular area, and it will go to the cleaning tanks, जबकि वाटर पाइपलाइंस वहाँ से आते हैं. सो दैट विल बी डिफरेंट बिकॉज रीनल पेल्विस से स्टार्ट नहीं होगा, it will start from the medullary pyramids. So in that way you can find some new ways so that you can understand the entire structures for the internal structures of kidney. So here is one histological slide. Slides ऐसे होते हैं, once you see them under the microscope, this slide is going to be visible, and you can see cortex, the renal pelvis, the blood vessels coming in and out from the uh, concavity which is going to be the ileum, then the medullary region. So जो lighter area है that is medulla, the darker pink will be the cortex, and the fibrous capsule which is going to be the one of the protective covering. Adipose tissue is also one of the covering for the shock absorbing. So that all can be understood with this particular diagram. Now we understand about the ureters which are going to come out from the ileum. These ureters are going to be pair in nature, and these are fine whitish muscular tubes, and उनका जो length होगा, so you can see here in the diagram as well, these are going to descend down at a very lower rate. So kidneys abdominal area के पास में होगा, and you know where the bladder is going to be. So all that region, that is about 25 to 30 centimeters in length, and it will be about 3 millimeters in diameter. Once it is going to start from the ileum part of kidneys, it is going to go down entirely into the abdominal walls. It will bend obliquely inwards and also go upwards to open into the urinary bladder. So kidneys say start hoga our ureters, and these ureters will come and go finally settle into the bladder. So this is just one side of it, right? Now we are going to see that what are the different layers of this ureters. So ureters को जब cut open होगा, it is going to be having three walls. These three walls or these three coats are going to be as the external adventitia, the middle muscular layer, and the inner mucosa. Now the muscular coat में क्या होगा, since the ureters need to pass on the urine, there might be some movements. So these movements to pass on the urine, जैसे खाना आपके esophagus से pass होता है, similarly for that reason here it is going to have three layers of smooth muscles. So first will be the outer longitudinal, यानी जो लंबाई में बनेगा, this will be the outer layer. Then there is going to be circular layer जो circles में होगा, and then again there is going to be inner longitudinal area. That is going to be different kinds of muscles which is going to constitute the walls in three layers, जिसमें से एक layer होता है the muscular coat. So जैसे esophagus के अंदर peristalsis होता है, similarly because of the muscular coat that we discussed, there is also going to be peristalsis found in the ureters, and this is going to help to pass the urine from kidneys to the urinary bladder. Now next structure after ureters is going to be the urinary bladder. So urinary bladder कैसे होगा? It is going to be a medial filiform sac, and which is going to change in shape, size and position. So जैसे urine नहीं है, it is empty, so the size of the bladder is going to be smaller, whereas when the urine is filled into it, then the size is going to increase. So because of that, it is called as a pyriform sac. Now the body, that is the main, larger area of the entire urinary bladder, is going to have a triangular area which is called as trigone. So this trigone is very important because this is going to explain you that there are going to be three openings. Trigone क्यों बनाते हैं? It is an imaginary triangular area. ऐसे कोई marking नहीं होती है that this is a perfect triangle, but you consider it, you imagine it to be the triangular area because of the three openings. So three openings में सबसे पहले opening किसका होगा? The one opening will be from the left ureter, one opening of the right ureter. So that is two ureters का opening and one opening of the internal urethral orifice. So जो urinary bladder के बाद जो urethra open होगा, that is also going to have a opening, a passage, and that is going to make the imaginary triangular area that is called as trigone. So here also you can understand from the diagram, the black dotted line marking imaginary triangular area, that is trigone. So two coming from the ureters and one coming from the urethral orifice. So this is also going to lead down to the narrower portion, that is the neck region. So neck region where there are going to be two splinters, and these two splinters are going to be, as the first one is the involuntary internal splinter. Involuntary है यानी you cannot control it, as the urinary bladder is going to expand with the filling of the urine, वो automatically open हो जाएगा, and that is going to signal you that now it's time for urination. And because of the next splinter, that is the voluntary external splinter, this is going to help you to manage whether to go for urination and relax the muscle, or you have to wait until you find a place for urination. So these are the two splinters which are going to help you for the urination, that is coming out of the urine through the urinary bladder. After or during the maturation, that is during your urination, yani flow of urine out is going to be called as maturation. So both the muscles needs, that is muscles, or these are splinters you can call it, but these are nothing but muscles as well. So these muscles or these splinters needs to undergo relaxation, then the person can urinate or undergo maturation. So how can a person understand that okay, it is the time for go to urination? So these two splinters are directly under the control of cerebral cortex, and whenever the internal splinter is going to get relaxed, that is going to send a signal, that is stimulus sent to the cerebral cortex, जो वापस एक response आएगा, and that response now is going to decide whether you have a place. अगर आपको लगता है कि ये place suitable नहीं है, तो आप जो सुसु रोक के रखते हो until you find a place or until you go to the bathroom for urination, that interval is going to be under your wish. So समझो अभी possible नहीं है for urination, so you wait for 5, 10, 20 minutes. So वो जो time है, that is given you for the voluntary external splinter. So once you have the place, again a signal is sent back, okay, everything is fine. Your eyes are going to send a signal to your cerebral cortex, the place looks okay for urination. Then the voluntary external splinter will get relaxed, and then the person can undergo urination. So this is a very complex thing that occurs in your brain and between the splinters, but you can understand all these complexities that are going to occur in just few seconds. So that is the power of the brain, that all these communications can occur at a very faster rate. So sometimes what happens, कोई जैसे बहुत young age में है, like small kids under 1 year, when they don't have the training for controlling their urination systems, so at that time the voluntary external splinter has not developed the ability to stop, to contact and keep the urine inside. वैसे ही जैसे स्मॉल बच्चों में यानी 1 साल के अंदर अंदर तक जब तक आदत नहीं होती है तब तक जो गद्दी में सुसु हो जाती है, दैट इज बिकॉज दे कैन नॉट कंट्रोल very well about their voluntary splinters. Even that can happen in the old age, and because of that, both in the case of small kids and in old age, the voluntary splinters do not function properly, and that is the reason that they cannot control urination और उसकी वजह से वो कहीं पे भी हो जाने के chances होते हैं. So that is the reason diapers are used. So that is one of the reason. जैसे एज बढ़ती है या एज बढ़ने की वजह से muscles cannot have their ability to contract for a very longer period of time, and in small ages the voluntary muscles have not developed that habit for the control of the volulation. That is the two cases that you can understand with the reference to these splinters. So finally, all the walls of the urinary bladder are also going to be under the control of sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. That is again a part of your nervous control, that is the peripheral nervous system. All this will be dealt in much more detail in the few coming chapters, that is about the nervous system. So अभी के लिए आपको तो ये पता होगा that you had studied in 8th and 10th as well. So that is not going to be a problem to understand the terms. So still you can go, if you don't remember, search it on Google and try to understand about it as well. So as we had discussed about the walls of ureters, similarly there are going to be walls of urinary bladder consisting of 3 coats. So outermost is the adventitia, middle is the muscular layer, and the innermost is the mucosa layer. So the muscles which are going to be present in the ureters, ureters में कौन से muscles थे? Ureters में there were 3 muscles. One, the inner one was the longitudinal muscle, then was the circular muscle, and finally even the outer one was longitudinal muscles. Whereas once you go into the urinary bladder, the urinary bladder is going to have muscles which has a special name, and this special name is called as dextrusor muscle. This dextrusor muscle is going to take part in pushing down the urine, that is called as dextrusion. Because the process done by these muscles is called as dextrusion, that is pushing down of urine, the name of that muscle. So this muscular coat is going to have the involuntary circular muscles in the middle and involuntary longitudinal muscles on either sides. Similar like ureters, जैसे बीच में होंगे circular muscles and both sides are going to have the longitudinal muscles. So that is also the case for the urinary bladder. And now that was about the muscle layer. The mucosa layer is going to be made up of loose connective tissue, and that is going to be towards the side of the muscular layer and the transitional epithelium towards the lumen. Yani for example, if this is the lumen, that is the place where the urine is going to be stored in the bladder, towards the lumen is going to be the transitional epithelium, which is going to help in changing the size and the shape of the urinary bladder. So this green one is going to be called as the transitional epithelium, and the loose connective tissue is going to be over that, and this loose connective tissue is going to together form your entire layer, that is called as your mucosa layer. After this mucosa layer, what are you going to have? You are going to have 3 different muscular coat. So this white one is going to be called as the muscular coat, और muscular coat के भी बाहर और कौन मिलेगा? Muscular coat के बाहर you are going to find the last layer, that is called as the adventitia. So the purple one वो होगा कौन? Adventitia. So this is a little rough diagram to understand about the layers of the urinary bladder. So here also you have seen about in the diagram about different layers of this bladder. Now we see the last part about your excretory system, that is urethra. So urethra जो है, it is very important to understand it is only present in mammals. Why? Because the birds or the avians, these are going to have avians, that means it is considering the birds. So birds are going to have cloaca. And what is this cloaca? This cloaca is a common opening. A common opening किसके लिए है? It is going to be common opening for three systems. The first system is going to comprise of the reproductive tract. Reproductive tract के बाद there is going to be second system that is related to the digestive system. So these do not have anus as well. So reproductive हो गया, digestive हो गया, and also the excretory system. All these three are going to be combined and a single opening is going to be provided, and that single opening is going to be called as cloaca. So जैसे avians में cloaca है, a common opening, mammals are going to have urethra, and this urethra is only going to be the opening for the excretory system. So this is going to start from the neck of the urinary bladder, and it will open into the external environment, that is outside the body. So there are going to be changes as per the gender. So in the females it is going to be shorter, that is about 2 to 4 centimeters long, and it is going to be straight and connected with the release of urine through the urethral orifice, or you can also call it as the urinary aperture. Aperture यानी opening है. That is going to be present in the vulva, which is in the frontal vaginal aperture. So as you know that in females there are going to be two separate openings for urine as well as for the reproductive tract, that is vagina. So reproductive tract mein there is going to be vagina which will be going into the cervix, whereas the urinary opening, that is called as urethral orifice. So these are the two different openings given in females. So this can be very well understood from your class 12 chapter. So class 12 mein we had seen about the human reproduction, wherein we have seen in detail about the female reproductive tract. So just for your reference, you can go through the class 12 chapter of human reproduction as well. That will be provided a link in the description box, and there you can find about the different openings and what is vulva as well. So till now you just have to remember that what is the difference of urethra in females and males. So males may it is going to be much more longer. It is going to be around 20 centimeters, and it will pass through different glands. These are somewhere related to the reproductive tract as well. So these are prostate gland, Cowper's gland, and then finally it will go through the penis as well. And once it is going to go through the penis and all these glands, it is going to be connected for the urine as well as for the semen. So urinary bladder से जो आएगा, it is going to go through the connection, यानी एक साइड से कौन आएगा, एक साइड से there is going to be the reproductive tracts opening over here, and एक साइड पे what is going to happen, the urinary bladder which is over here, urinary bladder से there is going to be coming one opening, और ये दोनों का जब मिलन होगा एक साथ आएंगे, there is going to be formation of a long urethra, and this longer urethra is going to open and surrounding areas are going to be covered in the penis. So this green area is penis, and it is going to be a common opening, and because of that the excretory system in the males is also called as urogenital tract. Why? Because urogenital यानी urinary bladder से भी connected है, and it is also related to the genital parts. Because of that it is having the name of urogenital tract, and the aperture of it, which is going to release all the urine and the semen out from that aperture is called as urinogenital aperture, which is going to be present at the tip of the penis. So this is nothing but the urogenital aperture. So that was the difference between the urethra in females and in males. So that was all for this video. This was just an introduction to all the organs of our system, that is the human excretory system. Regarding the details of this chapter will be continued in the next part of this video. So don't go anywhere, stay connected to Biophilia for the next video coming soon. Till then, like, share and subscribe. subscribe to our amazing channel. You can share your thoughts in the comment section as well. Till then, keep smiling, keep studying everyone. Bye bye. Thank you.